Hey everyone, this is Stacy. It's Monday about 2:30 in the afternoon. I wanted to read this report, this article that came from the Drudge Report, and then I wanted to actually show you the interview that Donald Trump had with Fox News so that you can decide for yourself whether this article is true. I hear a lot of people in alternative media stating that Donald Trump has blamed the Constitution for his failed 100 days. And I don't know if it originated from Drudge Report or some other alternative news website, but it is kind of going around the internet right now, and I have found the original interview with Donald Trump, and I'd like for you to judge for yourself whether this article is true or not. It says, on his 100th day in office on Saturday, facing historically low popularity ratings, a succession of intractable foreign crisis and multiple investigations of his links with Moscow, Donald Trump reminds the nation that May 1st was Loyalty Day. The day is a U.S. tradition dating back to the Cold War, when it was a bolster to stop May Day becoming a rallying point for socialist and unionized workers. But for an embattled president learning politics on the job, it has an added resonance. In an interview with Fox News to mark the 100-day mark, he declared himself disappointed with congressional Republicans. Despite his many great relationships with them, he blamed the constitutional checks and balances built into the U.S. governance. It's a very rough system, he says. It's an archaic system. It's really a bad thing for the country. Unquote. And here is the original interview with Donald Trump on Fox News.
Themes that have been part of the first 99 days. The president's approval numbers right now in the mid-40s. And while 30 executive orders and 28 bills have been signed into law, 13 of which were bills that were rollbacks from Obama-era regulations, the big three that he campaigned on, health care, tax reform, and immigration reform, have not happened quickly as he had hoped. The president is clearly frustrated to some extent with the Republican Congress. The businessman, now president, learning that the wheels turn slowly in this town, and he sees his biggest wins so far as outside our borders. Earlier today, we spoke about both.
You were a registered Democrat for a long time, now Republican president of the United States. And people say, well, President Trump's not an ideologue. He is a pragmatist. How would you describe your political philosophy?
Well, I'm not really an ideologue. I think I'm a person of common sense, I think, more than anything else. And I was a Democrat. I came from a place, I lived in Manhattan. I started in Queens with my parents, and then when I started doing a little bit better and better deals, I was able to get into Manhattan. I moved into Manhattan, and in Manhattan, you know, Republicans are not exactly flourishing. And so I started off as a Democrat, like Ronald Reagan was also a Democrat. And over the years, your views just change somewhat. But I think more than anything else, I'm a person of common sense. I understand what has to be done. I get things done. I've always been a closer. We don't have a lot of closers in politics, and I understand why. It's a very rough system. It's an archaic system. You look at the rules of the Senate, even the rules of the House, but the rules of the Senate and some of the things you have to go through, it's really a bad thing for the country, in my opinion. They are archaic rules, and maybe at some point we're going to have to take those rules on, because for the good of the nation, things are going to have to be different. You can't go through a process like this. It's not fair. It forces you to make bad decisions. I mean, you're really forced into doing things that you would normally not do except for these archaic rules. So
Like what? How would you change them?
well, you look at the voting and you look at the filibuster system. And it used to be, you know, I always thought a filibuster where you stand up and you talk all day and then somebody else
You don't have to do that
gets up.
anymore.
No, you don't have to do it anymore. Today you say filibuster and guys sit home and they watch television or whatever they do. I think, you know, the filibuster concept is not a good concept to start off with. But if you're going to have filibuster, let somebody stand up for 20 hours and talk and do what they have to do, even if they're reading comic books to everybody. Let them do it. But honestly, we have so many bad concepts in our rules, and it's forcing bad decisions. I really see. I've seen it over the years, where bad decisions are made. Decisions that nobody wanted are made because of archaic rules, and that's something that I think we're going to have to change.